Megan, welcome to the Nutra Narratives podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me.
Yay, wonderful. You know, it's bittersweet for me personally as a teacher. You have just completed your master's year with us. And 3 years. For me as a teacher, it went by fast. I remember when you first came on board, and it was so exciting to have you, but it's bittersweet for me because we don't get to see you and your cohort, even though we've been seeing each other, in Zoom classes. But
yeah, that is definitely, I think, the hardest part for all of us. It's nice to see everyone on the screen, but it really is just a screen at the end of the day.
And you know what? It's true. The way you just said that, it's just a screen. You're right. You're so right. But I hope to still see you, though, in person one of these days. Please come back to visit.
Absolutely. You know I will. I'm probably one of the closest. Well, the best for your new year and new start.
Thank you. We will look forward to that. Okay, Miss Megan, though, can you please take us back? What sparked your love for nutrition, or what sparked the interest?
Well, I'd say it was always kind of in there. I just didn't quite know it. I was really into athletics, especially track when I was young and I was in high school. And I was always very particular about my nutrition and intake, and I always was researching things. But then along the lines, I went into hair and I became a cosmetologist, licensed cosmetologist, and I had kids early. And something just changed, and I thought I really want to find something that I'm passionate about, but that can also bring others joy, and also I can find steady work as well, being realistic. Mm-hmm. So I kind of I remember Googling nutrition professional.
Oh, you did? You Googled nutrition. Awesome.
You know, because I was like, okay, well, what's a nutritionist? Are they a doctor? What are they? I didn't know what that term meant, and I didn't know if there was another profession that was more official and direct.
Okay.
It did actually lead me to the eatrightpro.org, so that, Academy popped up in the Google search. And then I looked for more information on it, and Loma Linda popped up as being one of the closest programs that included all of the internships and everything, which was lucky because I live right next to it. So.
Wow, to think that you Googled all this from knowing more about what a nutritionist does, a dietitian does, all the way to finding Loma Linda University. Boy, we got to thank Google. I got to tell my colleagues.
Really deeply, what really got me into wanting to actually fulfill the whole program was, my son at the time was, I don't know, because I started my prerequisites quite a while ago. So
okay, yeah.
I was in school most of my son, who is 12 now, like most of his life.
Wow.
So I wasn't sure exactly, and I started my prerequisites doing something completely different. It was actually art. I started in photography.
Oh, okay. Wow, that would have been fun too.
I would have, and I loved it. But that was more personal, the art, and it was hard for me to do it as a freelancer, because I did it successfully, but it was hard on my soul, almost on my heart, because I had to do things I didn't love about it, and in order to make money in it.
Okay.
And
it makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, and it's hard in art, I think, if you're going to make it a career. And so then I moved on to science and realized, okay, I do like all this. I do like nutrition. My son was struggling with a lot of mental health things. So he had been diagnosed with ED, and he was also ADHD. Okay. And I thought there has to be something better than medications. And so that's when I went through looking at nutrition and wanting to focus on that. And so mental health was always a big one for me in nutrition for that reason. And as I'm going through school and I'm trying to figure out my prerequisites, and I got associate's degrees actually in anthropology, which I loved. And I think really great having that cultural anthropology background in addition to biological, especially right now.
Oh, especially. Yes, indeed.
And um, I went through all that and I loved it, but my heart was still, as soon as I Googled nutrition and where to go, I kept my focus, and I went through all of those, but I was still ready to keep going through with nutrition. And I realized, oh, I can do nutrition and mental health. That's, that's incredible. That's something I can focus on, which
Correct.
people don't think about.
Yes, the word needs to get out there more that what we eat can help mental health and everybody's mental health.
Absolutely. And I think it's difficult for a lot of people because the idea of nutrition and mental health, some people might take it to the extreme and think, okay, well, then that means no medications and it's just completely natural and all you need to do is eat perfectly well or find one or two main amazing, nutrients and you're fine. And that's not it. And that's, I think, what also needs to be put out there is that nutrition for mental health doesn't mean that it's the end all. It means that it's going to help with, it might work with medications, or maybe you come down on medications, come off of them, everyone's body is different, and the mental health that they're having to deal with, that issue is, personal. So.
Yes, so true. But I like the lens that you're looking through. It's like you're looking at nutrition as a tool that can work side by side with the other tools that are already helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because just relying on just one thing, it would be nice. But the reality is that I believe God also helped man create certain medications to help people. I mean, if it wasn't for certain medications, many of us would not be here. Like for those who have diabetes type 1, they need insulin every day of their lives. Thyroid, they need, if they have hypothyroidism, they need thyroid every day. So in all other medical conditions, it's helpful.
Absolutely. I think people, especially those that tend to call themselves nutritionists that are not, actual registered dietitians,
Correct.
They're fanatical about specific nutrients and supplements and stop, wasting time and money and effort on medications. But it's not realistic for some.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people that have chemical disorders that can't be fixed by magnesium or, whatever supplement they're looking at.
Excellent point. Excellent point. And that is the reality of it. So it's good to be able to integrate Western medicine along with the benefits of good nutrition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which I love the functional medicine, and as my past instructor, it's so weird to say that,
Oh no, I'm already past. Oh
no. my old but young.
You know what? As soon as you get conferred, which is going to be like any day now, that is, you will be officially our alumni, my colleague, and that's so exciting for us. Yay. But yes.
And it must be interesting for you going through so many.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Oh, it must be interesting for you going through so many different, seeing all the students and progressing, and then all of a sudden they're a colleague.
Yes, and then to see where else they are going next. Mm-hmm. And so I know I'm going to be calling on you in a year or two to see where you are working, because when I do these interviews with them, oh, wow, they're doing what? They're doing this and that, and it's incredibly heartwarming for us to see where you are serving God in your own corners of the world.
I
So
look
I'm
forward.
gonna, yeah, gonna look forward to calling on you. So can you please share some of your good experiences, challenging experience being a student at Loma Linda?
Yeah. So for me, my challenging experiences, I don't know, probably very few can relate for those students that go to Loma Linda, simply because I was one of two in my cohort, or my larger cohort, that is a parent. You know, most of
Yes.
us, most of them are not. So
Ah,
for me, starting out, I kind of already had quite a few things, at odds with what it meant to be a full-time dedicated student in such an incredible program. 3 years to get your bachelor's and your master's. I was very realistic to how difficult that would be, but I wanted it.
yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
my obstacles definitely, you know so
Mm-hmm.
definitely my obstacles would have been, first and foremost, that juggle between being a parent and even not necessarily the physical. You can plan on when they're going to be, where they're going to be for school or
Yeah.
dropped off, but then you have to realize, okay, what are you doing with them on a daily basis? Do you get that quality time that you want? And is your mindset going to be there for them? And for me, it wasn't. And we did talk about mental health, and for me, I've always had mental, well, maybe not always. I think when I was a teenager I did, but I didn't
Mhm.
get anything checked. But I've struggled with depression and chronic anxiety for definitely my majority of my adult life. And I have fibromyalgia. I was diagnosed with it, which actually has been seen to stem from PTSD. So for me, when I was young, I got married young. It was an abusive relationship. That's where that came from. And
God.
I already had to deal with that. I have taken medications. I haven't taken them for a while now, but I've been on them. I've been off of them. I've used meditation and yoga. And
Mhm.
the idea of having all those things and
Okay.
having two kids and then going into this program, it should have been daunting, but I think I
Yeah.
was so ready to be a dietitian and to get into nutrition. And I'd been fighting for so long to finish school and to find the place that I wanted to be,
Yeah.
that it was it was worth it. But it was definitely, obstacles for sure for me would have been quality time with kids and being mentally there and juggling time management and
Whew.
it changes every quarter. It's different, which is great because
Mhm.
it's good. It's good for your brain, but it's also draining.
Of course.
And I remember looking back, and I looked back with a few of the students in my cohort, and we were saying, "Oh gosh, we took like car naps. Like we would have like 15
Really?
minutes. We would
Oh,
have when we had like 15 minutes, especially William and Maris, who's research partner.
yes.
We were both very similar, and we would both take car naps for about 10-15 minutes and just like get back to it and then have lunch or whatever we had to do.
Wow, I didn't
Yeah.
know you guys. Wow. But those 10-minute power naps, weren't those helpful?
Best sleep.
Wow. Wow. I had no idea. Now I know. Guy, if only I knew, I would have like maybe put a futon in my office. So it's like, okay, do you guys want to take turns taking 10-minute naps in my office? I had no idea. Had no idea. I'm gonna have to rethink this for future classes. I'm glad we're having this conversation so I know how to be a better teacher.
For those to come, they get some more benefits from us.
Yes. Wow. Okay, so what else did you do to get through
Oh,
challenging days? You had the support from each other, from classmates. You took those
absolutely.
power naps. I'm sure you had family support, or maybe not as much.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. absolutely. I think the physical stuff with my kids, having them physically have somewhere to go, that
Okay,
was very helpful. That was
good.
definitely something that was helpful, my mindset. But
Yeah.
challenge is definitely finding the time, getting enough sleep. It,
Ooh,
I don't know how I got as much proper nutrition as I did, honestly, during the day,
wow.
because I was just always running around, and somehow I did find time. Yeah. Loma Linda was good though. They helped with that, having all of the like the pavilion, the cafeteria available. That was very helpful.
Nice.
But
Good.
yeah, I'd say finding time just to let your brain rest. And quite honestly, I kind of came to the resolve probably after the first year that my mindset during the entire program was probably going to always be a little crazy, a little constantly focusing on upcoming and things to do, even on vacations and things like that.
Oh
And
man.
just try to be okay with it. I had to just be okay with getting through. And I definitely relied upon friends. One of my best friends was there to help calm me down for things and also to just let me not think of anything else.
Hmm.
Being constantly reminded that you don't have to be a perfect parent. It's okay to not be there for every little thing. That was very helpful. But those were definitely big struggles for me.
Yeah, no, I could imagine because as a parent, you do want to be at every single one of their milestone performances or events, or not even the big ones, but just every event that they have.
Absolutely.
And then also having to juggle your own schooling, I can't even begin to imagine.
Yeah.
Um,
It was a lot, but I would not change it for the world.
wow. And I will tell you, you're telling me all this now, and I'm like, yeah, I knew you had some difficult times, but wow, you just pressed on through. Like, I never really knew the extent of everything else that you have been bearing, holding, and with your health, that type of thing. I mean, wow, with fibromyalgia, that can just go off at any time with any stress. And
Absolutely.
you took a lot of classes every quarter pretty much. So I don't know how you were able to do that and maintain your health.
I found that I went through some months where I did a lot of exercise, a lot of yoga and running, and that was great. And then there would be other months where I didn't have time mentally even to even like mark out time to be okay with doing exercise. And that was okay too. I would just had to juggle in between my mental health to, am I going to focus on the exercise to help, or am I going to focus on maybe I need to go on some medication, or am I going to focus on giving myself more brain breaks,
Okay.
you know uh, trying to being okay with maybe spending a couple hours in the evening of just watching television and forgiving myself for doing that instead of focusing on studying.
That, wow, that is absolutely perfect and a-okay. Having those different choices and being okay with the choice that you make, because
Yeah.
then at the end, it's all for the better. So that's very much a healthy way to handle every day.
This program
Yes.
myself,
Okay.
to be okay with, you know, parenting or exercise or the amount of studying, you know,
Right.
we all struggled through it, and we all had to do what we had to do, and everyone has that something.
Yes. Yeah. Because everyone, single or not, married or not, kids or not, or we all have something. But the thing is, none of you have given up. All of you said, we are determined to get this education, to get it done, and we're going to do it. And that winning attitude has made you very successful.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's not to say though that it's okay, like I don't want anyone to think, okay, well then if I ever think about giving up, then that makes me lesser. It does not.
Yeah.
It's okay to think about it. It's okay to have. I've had plenty of little mini breakdowns. My car was my favorite place to cry.
Yeah. Oh, I've
Uh,
had many breakdowns with, I've cried many a river for my last degree. So, and it's okay. It's okay to have breakdowns. It's okay to release.
Absolutely, and it's okay to consider where you would be right now if you weren't having to go through all this, but then to make sure that before you act, you think and you talk to someone and you ask for help. Because
Ah,
I'm not a help. I don't like to ask for help. I'm the helper.
okay. Yes.
You
I,
know that.
yes, you even helped me your first year. You provided me with markers. Remember? Thank you. I will always cherish that. But yes, you've always been the nurturing type, which I just love so much about you. And so I don't blame you for not wanting to, or for initially, but I know you've learned to reach out for help.
Yes,
Just like I reached out for help at the employee and student assistance program, where I did get the counseling for a while to help me get through school.
perfect.
So yeah, and so that's why I try to tell as many students, it's okay. I've gotten help. I've had physical therapy help. I've had speech help for my vocal cords, and because of their help, I'm able to go on in what I love to do. So getting therapy for my mental health has been so rewarding. God placed these people there to help us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm glad that we have those opportunities and resources.
Yes, thank you. So I want to transition into, please, please help me understand any situations that you've had as a student who is of color, who is Black. Were there difficulties along the way or just in life in general? Help us to be able to see life through your eyes, because I feel that this conversation is so important to have.
Absolutely. So I'll premise it with I am half Black and half Italian. So my mom is Italian and my father is Black. And so
You're
it's
such a beautiful mixture of both.
Thank you. And it is interesting where from my perspective because I do see both sides. Because I have my father who is Black and my mother who is white.
Mm-hmm.
And
Got
and my
it.
father was a police officer for LAPD for 39 years. So I have a lot
Wow, admirable.
to look at. So yeah, you know what? I have to say, I've definitely been pretty lucky growing up and living where I do in Redlands, California. It's not, it's even though there are still very, the diversity is not great here, but it's still a really loving community.
Mhm.
Like I lucked out on that. And I also was privileged enough to be able to go to a private Catholic school. So, it took me until I was older to
Mhm.
really feel any kind of racist feelings towards myself. Now, I witnessed it with my dad.
Oh,
I
oh,
witnessed, my dad's mentioning something that would happen, and then my mom, who is white, saying, "That's not. Are you sure? They didn't do that." So it goes hand in hand. You never, even if it's a loved one, you don't mean to necessarily put that off or to avoid racism necessarily sometimes, but it
okay.
can happen because because it's so innate within America. It's just deep. It it is the foundation really of
Yeah.
America.
Mm.
And so for me, I've had a few instances. I mean, I've had like the usual comments of things like, oh, you speak really well, or I would have assumed you were white from your voice, or okay, because you have good English, things like that.
Mhm.
And those are minuscule compared to what really goes on, what has always gone on outside of my little bubble town.
Got it.
And it hurts me though. I mean, I watched something today, and
Mhm.
it made me cry watching a police officer just make this man do like a crazy Simon Says, basically no matter what he did he was going to be wrong, and he just shot and killed him no matter
Oh,
what. Wasn't doing
oh,
anything, you know.
yeah.
For me, I feel like it's something I've never really talked about. um, I talk to my friends about it a little bit, but I don't really talk about it. I'm more of a lover, and I try to
Yes.
and I like to let people present their own ideas, and if it is something that is said in front of my face, I will absolutely say something. But I'm not like someone that pushes. But for now, I think that it is a time for pushing, and I think there's a good reason for it.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So how do we push it?
Honestly, just the talking, just continuously talking. So for
Okay.
instance, I noticed with the coronavirus things going on, and everyone's so focused on coronavirus, and that's all that's going on in the news and social media, and everyone is now was being so careful. And then the second that there was any release of, oh, the numbers are dropping and you can go outside and things are opening, it's like our nature in society to try to forget about it. It's like,
Mm,
well, that
mm,
happened, I don't like it, so let's just not talk about it anymore. Or we'll bring it up every once in a while, but it's fine. And it's like we didn't learn anything. What happened during coronavirus was when everyone had to be inside for a couple of months, we had
hmm.
oceans and rivers and things clear up. We had
True.
more animals back in nature. We had Mother Earth finally saying, oh, thank you for that breath. Thank you for that rest. And
Exactly.
my worry for even that is people are going to go back right away to what they were doing and like forget it. And so I think for all of the stuff going on with Black Lives Matter and with racism, which has always been an issue, as we said,
True.
I think right now to keep it going is
Okay.
what's most important, is to keep talking about it. Don't just talk about it over social media, which is also important, but reach out
Hmm.
to your friends, no matter what color they are.
Yeah.
Talk to them about it. Ask them their opinion. You might be
Hmm.
surprised to find out maybe they don't want to talk about it because they're uncomfortable. Maybe you have to make them talk about it because being uncomfortable
Mm,
is a part of change. I was
correct.
so uncomfortable watching that video of that man, that Black man, getting literally murdered. It was so uncomfortable and it made me so sad, but I made myself watch it.
I did too. I mean, I heard what it would entail, but I said no to myself, like watch the whole 8 minutes, 46 seconds, and even more.
Mhm.
I didn't want to, but I did to to just have more understanding. And it just devastated me to the core of my being.
Absolutely. And I think that if everyone's talking about it, and if you make yourself watch those hard things, then it'll leave an imprint on you. And maybe next time you'll speak up. Maybe next time a friend will speak up.
Hmm.
So I definitely talking, still posting, but talking in person. Uh,
Correct.
Also trying to educate yourself, because unfortunately our education in elementary school and in middle school and high school,
Hmm.
primary schools in the United States, we take out a lot of history and we put in the parts that they love. They want to
Okay.
celebrate whether it's true or not. My Both of my kids still still learn about Christopher Columbus being the founder of America. Why are you learning that? That's, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm. Right. Good point.
It's
Good
so
point.
strange. In 2020, children are still being told about, how beautiful it was about the pilgrims, and this is what Thanksgiving is, and all these things. And you know,
Yeah.
I, I don't expect them to go into graphic detail for kindergartners, but at
Well,
least not
true.
present information as a story, as a fairy
Mm.
tale.
Mm-hmm. Excellent point. So true. But I like what you said. The rest of us, we need to keep educating ourselves about this. I know for me last weekend, I haven't seen the movie Harriet, but I found a documentary on her life. And that alone, I mean, I knew about her, but I said, I want to know more about what she did.
Absolutely.
And it just blew my mind away.
It's
And
incredible.
her, yeah, and her bravery, her love to free so many of those who were in bondage. Wow. But to think of how people were treated as slaves, it's like, why did that even happen in the first place? It makes you so angry just going back to see that history.
It and all of that is based from it all came from a place of ignorance, like you said, we have to, like I said, like you said, we agreed
Mhm,
education is key, and
mhm,
it was just straight cultural ignorance,
mm, okay.
and it continues. It there are so many documentaries, like you said, Harriet, the movie.
Mhm,
There's actual documentaries. If you're someone that wants to read, there's plenty of books. I honestly,
yeah.
even myself, I don't even know as much history as I feel like I should,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
and what I want to know, especially in order to teach my children. There are a
Okay.
lot of people that are posting some great resources on
Yes.
books and movies and things to look at.
Hmm.
I know a couple that I'm going to look at. There's one called A Place on the Corner by Elijah Anderson, that was written in 78. And
Okay.
another one called Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. And that was
Oh,
issues in the early 20th century with racism that I want to look into as well. But there
yes.
are plenty. There are plenty.
Okay. I know one
Yeah.
of the movies, I don't know if it's a movie or documentary, but Just Mercy. I saw that on the list. So
Yes, yes,
that's one I'll
that one
watch.
that one is a film, but it's based off
Mm,
of work events that actually occurred. So that one's a good one. Any
okay.
of them. Selma is
Selma,
there.
I saw that one. Okay.
Um, you know, I think starting out with films that are cinematically beautiful, even if they're hard to watch, are someplace where you can start, and then moving on to
Okay.
documentary and
Okay.
book.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
And but especially sharing those, share them. Make a point to maybe keep it going, and you decide that you'll maybe watch a movie or read a book about racism or someone of color, whether it's Native American or African American person or whatever.
Okay.
And anyone that has ever been a minority and has had these issues, make a point to maybe read a book or watch a movie once a month, and then share it with someone. Share
Okay.
the most important, I think, talking about it, because again, being uncomfortable is how we change.
Mm.
I mean, from education, Dr. Noval, we have, how uncomfortable I was for 3 years.
You were?
I mean,
You never showed it. Aww.
I was comfortable learning from you all, and it was a nice, safe space. But your brain's growing. There are things that you're not sure if you're quite grasping, and maybe it's hard for you to understand, so you just want to give up. And that's with anything.
And
And
so true.
growing
Even
pains.
me. Hmm.
Yeah. See, even
Even
you.
me. Even me going through the last degree. Oh my
Ab-
goodness, because it took me 9 years.
oh goodness.
Way
Oh
too
boy.
long. So that's why I said I cried many a river.
Mhm.
But yes, and it's okay to feel like I feel like I'm gonna give up. But no, Lord, I don't want to, but that's how I feel. Acknowledging that feeling so that we can go on. That uncomfortable. getting out of that. And
I think being honest about being uncomfortable, even if you find a short video or a book and say,
yeah,
I read this, it made me uncomfortable, but I think you should
right.
read it. Someone to anyone that you think is receptive. So it
Okay.
can.
Yeah, I like that because I watched the documentary. It wasn't a movie, but just the documentary of Harriet, and but I haven't told anybody until you, now that I've watched it. So now well, I haven't seen many people yet, other people, so I need to share that I I'm basically here at home. I need to call up a friend. Oh, well, I will be having a phone call with a friend at 5 today. So you know what? I'm going to make it a point to share with her what I learned. So see, you're helping me take
Good.
action. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yes.
definitely keeping it going. There have been changes made because of the protests and because of the letters and because of the money being raised. There are
Yes.
changes, and the
Yeah.
changes will stop once all this stops. So if it doesn't stop, it will continue to change.
Okay. So we need to do our part and not just be talking about it now, but forever and always. So there will
Yes,
be continuous change, as you said, continuous improvement, and just wanting us to become one family, feeling that more and more.
absolutely. And where dietetics is concerned, I think it's really important actually that
Mm-hmm.
we look into maybe including cultural competency,
Correct.
in all of the nutrition and dietetic programs
Yes. Right.
on racism. I know we always touch on uh, being mindful of how you treat patients that are overweight. Do you have a prejudice against them? Because of course that is a thing, especially in our
Mm-hmm.
field.
Mm-hmm. Especially, it's big. We need to pay attention to that. Yes.
But it's just as important,
Mm-hmm.
competent and understanding about racism. And
Okay.
I think cultural education is important. I remember I mentioned that I did my anthropology degree, and it's
Yes.
in science.
Yeah.
And I I first took that cultural anthropology class, and I thought, why is cultural anthropology not taught in schools, even if it starts in middle school?
Oh, yes.
Why, they do it, they call it social studies, right? Social studies is supposed to be that. It doesn't, it rarely translates
Mm.
to any kind of cultural anthropology understanding of,
Correct. So true.
scientifically, like, why am I darker? I'm more, we started out closer to the equator, you moved to the equator, and so that's why I'm darker. There's melanin, it's not, you're not an alien because you have a different
No.
skin or different features.
Mm-hmm.
It's about teaching young people, especially, as I'm sure you've heard,
Yes.
young people are where it starts because that's who we teach
Correct.
to be, either loving, kind, open, and understanding, or closed off, racist, judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
It,
Mm-hmm.
that's not, it's not human nature to just immediately hate.
It's true. In the Bible, it says, train up a child, and where he or she should go, and when they grow up, they won't depart from it. Um, so yes, you're right. That education of loving one another needs to start as soon as they're born.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to continue to encourage my friends, my colleagues to do as you said, that this is not just at this time that we're talking about this racism. We are going to keep talking about it, and even with our students, and make it, can we include it more in our curriculum so that
That would be
so it can be really well looked at, discussed, and that hopefully one day we can be part of the solution to help end racism for good.
Absolutely. I think especially for you because you're in such a great position to provide that or to suggest that in the program. Any educator, from primary and on, so important.
Well, I appreciate you empowering me on this. Thank
Well, thank you for
you.
being so receptive.
Oh, thank you. I want to learn, and I know I'm going to continue to learn. So thank you for being part of that, of my learning journey.
My pleasure.
So Megan, just like the last person that I interviewed, I didn't tell her this, but I'm going to ask you this. Can you please share with me three favorite nutrition practices that you do on a regular basis?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
For myself, I'm actually going to restate something that I stated previously. My
Yes.
first one is to be kind to yourself, and especially in nutrition. And I really wholeheartedly believe that is the number one nutrition goal of everyone to be okay with not being perfect or not
Yes.
always following, whatever plan you have made for yourself in nutrition and eating right.
Correct. Oh, yes. So right on.
And then number two for me, and to everyone else, is water. I I feel as though there are so many things that can be improved by just your water intake, which
Oh, God, yes. Uh-huh.
many people,
Uh-huh.
you feel tired, or you're like, if your skin's dry or you're freaking out, you probably need more water. So definitely focusing on, if things are going crazy, just drink some water first and see how that's going, and then there you go. You
There's the prop.
I think
Hmm.
that's so important, and I have to admit, I've always been pretty poor at it.
Yeah,
the
we
the
all have some
best I
people.
the best I was is at during school, and I think that that's something that helped me be better about always having water on hand. Is how I always ended up drinking enough water during the day. So just bringing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. I know for me, I feel like this is an appendage because I'm so
Mhm.
young. And if I don't have it, I'm like, ooh, I feel incomplete.
Yeah.
Why am I too light if I don't have it?
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, and number three, I think uh, I like to say for nutrition to focus on looking when you're at the store, obviously, like I always have fruit and veg on hand,
Yes.
but there are days that I just don't, a lot of days, especially these days when I was finishing all my master's
Mhm.
stuff, I just didn't want
Yes.
I was just too overwhelmed. And so I found that finding a few really good, healthful frozen meals or even frozen vegetables that are just straight vegetables that you can maybe add some olive oil and, salt to, or some kind of seasoning. So finding
Correct.
something, things to keep that are still good for you. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Indeed.
I think those are important. I'm gonna actually have to add a fourth and say, like,
Yes, please do.
I would say go through your pantry on a regular basis and dump a lot of sugars, because I notice for me at least, they accumulate over time, even if I don't really eat them. But then they're in
Yes.
there and there's a lot of them, and then my kids are hungry, and I say, go find something to eat, yogurt. No, even if I offer yogurt or berries or whatever, and they just go to the pantry, and then, oh, look what's there, is more junk. There's It's okay, all foods fit, there's
Of
always a
course.
time for you to indulge, but sometimes I look in there and I'm like, wow. Down a little bit.
That's a great tip. That is excellent. Yes, I tend to buy things and then I'll eat it once or twice, but there's still a lot of it left. And I'm like, oops, I forgot. And then, yes, so that's a great reminder to go back and clean out what probably shouldn't be there anymore.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate that. That's a good reminder for me because when I do clean it out, it's like, why did I wait so long? There's a lot of stuff that I could have been enjoying earlier on too. So I love it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for reminding me on that one too, because that one, I need to work on that. Well, Megan, I really appreciate this time that I have gotten to spend with you. You have shared from your heart, and you have been an incredible student in the past 3 years. I will truly miss seeing you, but I'm not saying goodbye. I can easily, I'm very emotional, so I can, I had professional seminar last Monday, the last class, or well, it was final, and then the last class last week. So that's the other part of your cohort. I mean, I just had to say, well, I'm gonna miss you guys and see you. Because I'm like, I was already feeling it in my heart, in my throat, in my throat. Like I'm gonna cry right now. So I was like, see ya. See you all. I'm gonna miss you all. Okay, bye. And but it has been such a great journey having you, and I've loved the conversations that you and I have had. And you have always brought sunshine into the classroom every time I saw you, and so I am going to absolutely miss you.
Oh, thank you. I thank you so much for having me on, and it's so nice to see you, just you and I, because sometimes I'll see you in the corner and on the screen, but we don't really get time together.
Yay.
But I really appreciate everything. You're such an amazingly dedicated instructor. And I have to tell you, I could easily write you a card, which I'm sure I'll write everyone a card because that's what I usually do. But for you, Dr. Noval, since you're here, I want you to know that you are so appreciated. And I feel like you are the professor that we can always count on to make sure things are not only fair, but they're in order, and you will listen. And when it comes to like life situations, you're always there to pray with someone, to talk with them. I'm sorry, I'm going to cry, but I really appreciate you. Um,
Thank you so much. That means so much to me.
no, even your, how, no matter how particular you are with things, I know sometimes it drives people crazy, but
I know it does.
appreciate
Aw, thank you. I know it's something I gotta
you
work
so
on
much.
too. Driving people crazy with like, let's get this done now. Like 6 months before.
Yep,
Aw.
absolutely.
Aw, but thank you. I know that not everybody sees me in the same light. So I know that others can see me in a negative way, but this truly has made my heart feel really loved by you. So thank you so much. But as I said, yeah, but as I said, I am looking forward to you coming by when they will allow us to be on campus or whenever you have the chance. We're not even back on campus yet, but I do want to see you again, and I am looking forward to seeing where God will take you next for your career, where he will have you for your first job, maybe second job, third, and who knows, maybe a doctorate. And
Thank you.
I keep putting that in there, the doctorate. And but I'm looking forward to that, and I just wish you the best. You have proven to us that you, being a mom with 2 kids, you were able to do it. You rocked it
Thank you.
with all the challenges. Wow, you have your MS, and I'm so proud. Can't say enough of how amazing you've been.
school in general, graduate
Yes.
school or back.
Though, to get you through the day.
committed
Uh-huh.